Hello, everyone. Welcome back to what is this? This is the Broiler Chicken Show. Back. Sure, the people living upstairs probably don't appreciate that much. this actually, I've noticed the audio is this is like a super echoey. I don't have any carpet down. Don't have anything on the walls. No pictures or anything. So I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I think I probably should get off my butt and decorate this place, make the audio sound a little bit better. Anyway, hello. Welcome back to the Frivolity. Our school program's on hiatus right now, so kind of just being a half slacker, half sort of, I don't know, off doing other projects right now. In fact, I think there's big tax deadlines that are due, and so of course we're dealing with accountants and all that kind of fun stuff right now. As well, too, what I've been really impressed with is the TRI community. Great to see this TRI community blossoming. And one relatively recent, actually two relatively recent additions, both of them working hand in hand very well together, it seems. Just banging out content for the community. And if anything, it's great because I sit here and I blab away for a couple hours. And I always tell everybody, if I talk long enough, hopefully I don't say anything that's just outright stupid and pisses you off. But hopefully, fingers crossed, hope. If I talk long enough, at some point there will be some sort of 5-10 minute blurb where you go, whoa, I never knew that before. Oh, son of a gun. Yeah, learn something new every day. So, and these guys, what's really cool is they're getting, all of you guys are so super computer savvy and probably way better and faster at doing this stuff than I'll ever be. But you guys, these guys, they're picking little snippets out of these daily rants and stuff and putting them in little pretty packages. And Julian now has got to be super happy. Mind you, I just screwed that up. In that we've got these thumbnails. He's been begging to have these thumbnails on these videos. And the feedback that you guys are giving us is pretty impressive. You guys seem to really like this stuff. So way to go, Chris. Way to go, Julian. Way to go, Josh. I'm so super impressed with how you guys are really taking this whole sort of concept to the next level. It's really, really great to see. On top of the fact that, we're actually building trading tools here that I think are going to be absolutely invaluable going forward. And Josh here is just demonstrating his simple approach. How he's just killing the market here, just using our proprietary breadth indicator. So congratulations all around. So proud of all you guys. And, I hate to, not I hate to say it, I actually like to say it. Was reminded recently on the site, of course, it is a religious time of year. So whether you're religious or you're spiritual or whatever you want to call it, one might even argue listening to a gentleman like this that really doesn't believe in sort of the out of the box religions du jour, but is more of like a spiritualist, I guess. And this guy here, his interviewer in this particular meeting, he enjoys some recreational narcotics. Let's put it that way. He even talks about it a little bit, which I don't think your classic, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant would subscribe to. But I love listening to him. Beautiful, unique perspective. I think I blabbed away about this video on the Friday show. I was quite moved by all this conversation. Really, and all this comes down to is just try and be the best person you can be individually. You can't affect other people. You can try. And actually, one message that he had that I thought was just so perfect, and I really want to try and just live my life by this, because I got to say, when you start putting the pieces together, it just makes common sense, and it's like poetry when you watch it actually in action. But just a really simple message. You cannot affect a revolution of positivity and happiness and joy and freedom through anger and resentment and bitterness and hatred and all that. It just doesn't work. It just, if you come from a point of hatred and anger and bitterness, you're not going to move forward. And unfortunately, what ends up happening is you actually end up attracting anger and bitterness and unhappiness and resentment and all that. I mean, it's bizarre, but it does make incredible sense, especially when I put what this gentleman said into context with this adventure I've had with you guys over the past 10 years. I actually built a 1980s website. That's what everybody at TRI actually calls my version of this kind of concept. And I did it over, before my wife passed. And I did it all on my own. And definitely, even then, I mean, keep in mind, I did it in PHP and all that. So, I mean, ironically enough, the programming and the MySQL and all that really hasn't changed a hell of a lot. But I guess the point that I would just make is that I tried to do it on my own and I could only get so far. And when a professional like Sjord looked at my programming code, he was kind of like, yeah, that's cute. Yeah, it looks like you taught yourself. You're not actually doing it the right way, but nice try. Pat on the back, that kind of thing. And ironically enough, this has absolutely nothing to do with any monetary. In fact, if I wanted to go and hire somebody to build this website, it would probably cost, to be perfectly honest with you, the bill probably would have been in the millions of dollars. But taking my own unique, bizarre approach to this universe, basically 10 years ago, to all intents and purposes, I'm giving this information away for you, to all you guys. I mean, the prices that are charged in the real financial services industry for the work that I do, especially with all you guys, would be in the tens of thousands of dollars. But the point is, I'm just giving away a lot of this. And a lot of people that I used to work with, they're like, shut up, man. What are you doing? You're giving away all our secrets. But this is the rewards. I mean, this is invaluable. Like I said, this platform, now that it's built and it's operational and it's up and running and it's done in the way the code is supposed to be done, is priceless. Absolutely priceless. The damage we're going to do in this world now that this is built is just going to be staggering. All I got to do is just maybe stick around for the next 5-10 years. As one Simpsons character said, this is going to be big. This is going to be like Gabby Hayes big. That's how big this is going to be. So thank you. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, JoJo, for putting me on this trek for so long ago. And to all intents and purposes, actually, just because I have this platform now and I have this engine, I've won. I don't need to. Just FYI, just for all you, just so you know, like the whole reason why we did the school was to actually get this built. So I think it was a win-win all around. Definitely win-win. Good karma. We're now in a position of strength. All I really have to do right now is just worry about, okay, have we filed all the documents? And, the people that don't know how to trade and that don't know how to manage their own behaviors, that are just minions, they're just robots. Unfortunately, sadly enough, actually it's half our job to carry a lot of those people in this world. And that's really, I think, half of the sort of tax system is because we now have these kind of gifts and because we now have all the information that I've tried to impart on all of you. Some of you, of course, have become substantially wealthy. You know who you are. In a weird sort of way, it's sort of like your job now is to try and actually give back and try and try and make others' life and existence on this world a little bit easier, whether it be the imparting um, of knowledge. There you go. So Ray, yeah, I bet you, if anything, we're all going through our tax. God, fuck, look at that goddamn tax bill. Capital gains is killing me. Anyway, uh, just if anything, just give yourself some solace that hey, at least we're helping to keep this damn ship afloat. And if anything, like the people that I'm going to go be with this afternoon, there's no way that they could possibly any of them live the lives that they're living without people like me and a lot of UTRIers. So they all thank you in advance. And I often have said this, that Liam derives so much benefit from the system that actually I don't mind paying taxes, and I'm going to pay a pretty damn hell of a lot of taxes. But at least I can see that he's getting a direct benefit out of it. So anyway, obviously you can tell that I've got taxes running around in the back of my mind, right? So all right, where are we going to go today? As I sort of alluded to there earlier, actually, the guys are going to make this job of mine pretty easy in that they actually went through and spliced up sort of my sort of thinking on the corn. I think hear what I guess geez. And now they're going to be spitting these videos out on almost like a daily basis. So get ready. This is what everybody says. This is what you're supposed to do. I'm probably going to get sick of hearing my own damn voice, but get ready. So anyway, this was the latest one that Chris put together. And actually did a pretty good job of summarizing everything that I think about this current sort of market state for the corn. I did put out a tweet about an hour or so ago, just sort of a follow-up to sort of that video right there, and then sort of like what are the levels I'm looking at right now. So I suppose this is probably what we should probably be working off of. This is what is this? A 30-minute chart. Ironically enough, when I first sort of got down on the floor, that didn't sound very good. When I first participated in floor trading years and years and years ago, this used to be like sort of the preferred time frame that most floor traders actually like to work off of, believe it or not. But also too, that it also helps in low volatility, not getting chopped up. If you have nice crisp 30-minute signals, and I don't even think you hear it anymore. In fact, I don't even know if it even exists. But when the floor was open, you could hear in the background, if you ever sort of had audio feeds, you could always hear every 15 minutes there'd be like a gong, and then every 30 minutes there'd be like beep, right? And all that. It's so cute. If you ever saw like an interview of traders, every single trader does it. If there's ever an interview with a trader, and I think the New York Stock Exchange, I think that's still open, so you probably still see it there. But if you ever hear the beep going off at a half-hour interval, every single one of them all look up in unison at the board. Okay, where we finish that candle? It's so cool. Now that I've told you, if you're watching this and you see something later, you're gonna see it. And you're gonna chuckle. It's so funny. It's sort of like Pavlov's dog. As soon as that beep goes, everybody just looks up. Anyway. So if you want the big long ramble, I suppose I won't go into that here today. But this is, I think it was good, about 15, 20 minutes. And I think one of our sort of social media guys is like, let's try and keep these under 10 minutes, please. So, but I listened to it. I thought it was a pretty good summary of what to look for here. So check that out. Thought there's some interesting anecdotal price action information to justify bottoms that you could also add, which I didn't really talk about, but of the higher time frame, these 3-bar fractals, actually, if you drill in on a lower time frame, actually very well defined head and shoulders patterns. So this happened to be like off of I think I said a 30-minute chart here, and you can see the pretty little head and shoulders pattern that developed. And I do know that guys like Kiran and Daniele, they run a little day trading site service. Well, probably big now. And I know I can't really speak for Kiran, but I can remember distinctly Daniele. He would be hunting for inverted head and shoulders and head and shoulders tops to enter on lower time frame charts for day trading purposes. That's a pretty good illustration of, this could be a 30-minute chart. It could be a 3-minute chart. Ironic enough, all the principles are basically the same. So, a big dump. This was the end of a it's an interesting looking ABCD. I'm not even exactly sure how to best describe this, other than it's not that chart. Let's see, what do I have over here? Around here somewhere. Maybe it's over here. There we are. So this is the original chart that I drew that tweet off of. And I guess the thing that jumps out here that kind of bothers me about all of this sort of quote unquote bottomy stuff here is, and I did mention this in the 17-minute video. And when I saw that, I was kind of like, oh, that's a good point. So, believe it or not, even I watch these videos back and I go, oh, I like the way I said that. Oh, you know what? That's a good point. I'll even watch a video and I'll go, I don't know, Brian. I think you sound like you're full of shit to me. Anyway, no, I'm not schizophrenic. Yes, he is. How does that go? Just kidding. Anyway. So I made reference to the fact that, you see it, that's a pretty damn big move. And then notice this sort of dead cat bounce coming out of it. That's a pretty big move. That's a pretty big move. That's a pretty big move. I mean, that's some serious volatility. And things have actually compressed quite a bit here. So obviously something's about to happen. But what I'd also say too is I'm a little surprised that we actually have gone so quiet through the holiday weekend. That does surprise me a little bit. Might also mean too that the professionals, they're just not here, and because these assets are getting so expensive. I mean, how many Joe Sixpacks are able to go and buy a Bitcoin right now? That's 40 fucking grand. That's just 40 grand. That's a lot of money. So now I'm gonna save Chris and Josh the time. Every time I feel like I'm gonna swear, I'm gonna go. So I'll just save them some time when they go through the edit. But you guys really like that. That was actually my suggestion that we do the chicken sound whenever I swear. Then that way they can use these videos publicly. I thought that was a great idea. Anyway. All right, so back to the story. We came down here, we sort of settled in like into this original bottoming sort of window right down in here, right? You can see the lows basically were like right against that kilo there. You might even argue, all the people that have worked with me for a while know that I'm a big fan of market symmetry, which means that if we saw a bump into there, look at this 2 bars, right? We actually need to see a move all the way up there. And then we see the resumption of the move down to there. So I'd just be curious to see, where did this recent rally actually stall out? Because those are the levels. I think we found support there, and we counter trend rally bounce up into there, and then we got to come back down. So let's see what we got here. So where are we here? Okay, so is that it there? Oh, I guess so. All right, so we bounced into here. We rallied back to there. Whoa, that's freaky, eh? So you can see there was that low that I pointed there. That's the first point that's hit. Bounce and then doink. And notice we went down and then doink. It's almost exactly equal. And then the next leg is new low. So I don't know. Can you guys see that? Or does that just look like squiggly mess? And you're all like, well, wait a minute. I thought you said that you were bullish. What the hell's going on, man? No, you didn't appreciate that? Okay, let's see if we can do maybe a new chart. See if we can make this clear. What time frame was that? It's 30 minutes. Ooh, boy, there's a big ugly M. Oh, and I think I put on that chart a narrow sideways channel there, eh? Oh, that's not a good sign. Yuck. Right. So what I meant was that was these levels here, right? Yeah, notice this is kind of look how volatile that was. So it went all the way down to there, then just went literally straight up, woo, all the way up there, and then down, and then boom, new low. So all I said was, if this is market symmetry, then what ends up happening is if we, here, if we go down and then up, then that means over here, there's got to be, exact opposite to that. Actually, hopefully you guys get what I'm trying to say here by market symmetry. This isn't really a very user-friendly example. This is a mess. But anyway, so what I'm trying to say here is hopefully we hit this level first, then this level second. So we'll go 1, 2, and then 3 has got to be over here. So let's see what we got. So we didn't actually quite get down to 1 there. So it almost looks like we're still in this phase here. Coming down into here, dead cat bounce. Obviously, this is a pretty darn significant resistance level. Look how that was an old low there. There's a really good example. What once was support now becomes resistance. Really good example. This is why we really like trading with horizontal support and resistance. So we could technically, just duding up charts, right? Start drawing. I call this tricking out your charts, where every sort of major pivot you see on here. And if you use the magnet tool, it helps you see this stuff. Anyway, I don't know if I got that up there or not. Anyway, here, let's zoom in so I can get a little bit better levels here. So that was a pivot right there. Somebody said, stop going down, go up. All right, and then we got this one over here. That's clearly a pivot. Stop going up, go down. And that one, stop going down, go up. Well, hopefully you're seeing them. That there again. Like same level too, right? So obviously that's a pretty darn important level in there. So I think actually, yeah, this kind of looks like a little shoulder. And notice, look how we went. Actually, no, it would be, believe it or not, it would be there, shoulder. So down into that level, bounce back, and then failure. And notice how this is a pivot there, and a pivot there, and then that high there. So, wow, what a cluster. No wonder there's a huge resistance level there, right? So, where is support? And this is kind of what worries me about this here, because kind of like what I showed you there a few minutes ago. We go AB, CD. That's a bit lower, right? That's down into these lows. So, and also 2, been spent the past good couple years, like really studying this stuff in earnest. And trying to get better at using this Feigenbaum chaos theory concept. I think we have some really cool levels to work with. I just don't know. I mean, I definitely do not want to quote unquote teach you this stuff if I don't feel like, this is the way that I use it and I put it into practice, and I'm still trying to figure this stuff out. So we had a really fun way to sort of figure out what these 2.618, 4.669, 8.77, 16.88 kind of idea. So I think there is mathematical logic to it. Question, of course, is how does price behave around these levels? And I always encourage people to try and find confluence, right? We never want to take a trade just off of one reason. I can't get that to set. So if you can get like confluence at fib levels and chaos levels, Feigenbaum levels, geez, sure makes for a powerful case for a trade. Especially location. So this is one thing that kind of bothers me right now is this 2.618 is floating out here. So I love how TradingView can now give you like the ability to actually do notes on lines. And a lot of my charts, I'll go like foggy like that. So I'll also, since this is an ABCD consolidation objective, I even have that on there. I'll go ABCD objective. So horizontal support and resistance, right? I would denote that with a horizontal support and resistance line. All this kind of stuff. Yeah, that's a pretty important level there. So, next one, if that fails, there's that. There's a big old tail in there. Tails like to be eaten. Then there's that there. I mean, geez, there's a bunch of them down here. This one here. So these are all horizontal support and resistance. Like I said, what I really like to find is confluence of levels. All right, I want to see a whole bunch of cluster of levels. And then I'll be like, hey, that looks like trade location. So if you look at that image, and especially these foggies, you got 2.618, 4.669 are basically plays against these lows. I just wonder whether this dump in here was more like I don't know how to describe it. I don't want to be insulting to the crypto community, but I just don't think they have as much buying power in these kind of assets as they used to. So, I suppose you could make the argument that, we're seeing, it's good to see that the red bars are trailing off here, but that's not a function of a bull market. That's a function of a bear market, lots of selling. You can see all the red, but the bears maybe are falling asleep. What we really want to see, and probably here's a really good example of the volume, right, is we want to see the bulls go, hey, I want to buy. This is a great buy. Look at all that chunky volume down there. And then, you see the W and you go, duh, Brian, what a surprise. So, if this is a bull, we want to see the buyers step up. And the end result of this, of course, all the buyers buy here. And if you're like, smart money and institutional players, they're the only ones that can step up and buy what's that number up there? 789 Bitcoins. I mean, geez, can't even figure out what that number is. Just illustration purposes. This is the funny thing about Bitcoin. It's so damn expensive now. What is 800 Bitcoins? Well, that's a nice friendly $32 million. Do you have $32 million lying around? I don't, that's for sure. So $32 million. Now, this is a really good anecdote. Hopefully you can see here that this, if this was still a bull, right, we would see even more buying. Well, you have 32 million. I'm going to put 65 billion. I'm going to put 100 billion. $1 billion buy order. Everybody's buying, right? But that's not the case. We had $32 million buy order come in here, right? But the next wave, all the way up here, we only got 551 coins. It's still a chunk of money, don't get me wrong. And actually now we're up, where are we? This is up in this neighborhood, up into here. So times 46, geez. Oops. 25 million. Not as much money, right? So you can see the buying interest is trailing off. And that's actually, technically this is a divergence. We always say volume speaks volume. So here's a really good example where the buyers are just quieting down. You can see they really quieted down here, and then they just disappeared. Where the hell did the buyers go? So which way does price go? Down. Anyway. So here we are, down at the bottom of the range. If anything, I would have liked to seen some people step up and buy. Damn it. And even something like this, buy, but there's nobody here. Where'd everybody go? Now, and then the question ultimately here is, and this is where the rubber meets the road, folks, because this market will only go up if people feel bullish, feel optimistic. And actually, just before I got the call going, good old Stewart, he just dropped some bombshells on the site. First bombshell, boom. The Beanstalk Farms team is investigating the attack and will make an announcement to the community as soon as possible. What the hell happened? Oh no, it's per person. If I understand correctly, there was a hack and a lot of money was stolen. That's not bullish. You got to have like positive news. Remember I had said earlier, positive news, of course, attracts positivity, positive karma. I suppose you could argue growth in asset prices, positivity. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Let's go out and buy some Bitcoin. I'll get rich. Woohoo! Wow, what the fuck? Oh, Jesus Christ. They got all these hacks and stuff going on again. And then that insult to injury. Oh, darn. Oh, fudge. I just put it away. Let's see where I was. Where the hell was that? I guess that's it. What's this? What's going on here? Verification code to prove the owner of the Apple ID account after giving the 600 again. Scammers hung up and his MetaMask wallet was wiped with over 650,000 stolen. How did they access his MetaMask wallet? Let's look into what happened. Oh, Jesus. So, unfortunately, there's no way a market can rally in the face of this kind of shit. This is not good. And, look at my front page dude, right? I love you guys dearly. And if anything, this is what makes it hurt the most is that, 95% of you people are really pure. You have the best intentions. I hate to say it, a lot of computer people in our world, right? They kind of get ostracized and they get picked on and they've been bullied in life. So, there's a big reason why a lot of people sort of regress into the computers is, they don't want to deal with the physical world because, the big fucking guys at the cool lunch table, they make fun of them. So it's terrible that crypto can't seem to get beyond this this bad shadow, right? And of course, the worst part about this is that the good senator from the state of Washington, she's going to make sure that none of us ever get taken advantage of by this guy. But that also means too you lose all right to make any decisions for yourself. Ugh. If anything, it's my job, and unfortunately, I'm not real. I don't know whether I'm even doing a half decent job at it but it's my job to try and counter this and say, you know what? Actually, you can do really well in this world if you just don't fall into these traps. And I hate to say it, but it's I almost get like unpopular by pointing out the traps. I think there was a huge trap that's being laid in this Vancouver real estate market. And what really bothers me about this trap is that the solution to these kind of problems, when these kind of real estate markets get absolutely out of control, and we're talking like billions of dollars on the line, what ends up happening is the whole society just sort of gets conned into, you know what, we'll just burn the whole fucking thing down and collect the insurance policy. That's exactly what happened in this. This place was basically oil town central. And then the 2008 financial crisis came along and the price of oil fell well below what the cost of production for this place was. The whole place became completely bankrupt and totally worthless. And of course, where is this place? It's up in the middle of nowhere. No one would ever really voluntarily move to Fort McMurray, Alberta. Just Google it. You'll see what I mean when you see where it is. And they just burnt the whole damn city down. Now, how does a whole city get burnt down? A whole bloody city just poof up in smoke. And everybody wins. They all collect on the insurance policies. Oh, my goodness. So I got to say, these humans, they're pretty damn corrupt. Yeah, what a surprise we're starting to see. And how often do you see that? That's downtown Vancouver. And mysteriously, buildings are starting to catch on fire. Uh-oh. I don't know. I'll just leave it at that. You use your own imagination. And then, the replies are, obviously people don't like this sort of sardonic. I think that's the term. I think I have that right. I don't know. Look on the world. And they're kind of like, yeah, I bet you're a lot of fun at parties and stuff, eh? And I'm not. I don't ever get invited to parties. I'm not part of the cool kids. Sucks. Oh well, it's the way it is. Anyway, so half of my job is to try and, of course, put a positive spin on this. How do we not get sucked into this guy's world? How do you set yourself up for success? And I hate to say it, there's a gentleman that all of you just think walks on water. And I was even in a meeting yesterday. And I remind people that God, I don't even know how to say it properly. There's a difference between following somebody online or following social media people, influencers, whatever you want to call it, and actually, sort of thinking for yourself. And I actually think that half of my job is I don't want you to follow me. I want to teach you how to think for yourself. And actually, you even become a better trader than I am. But I'm very disillusioned in that I think a lot of people just basically follow whoever's sort of cool du jour. And frankly speaking, I don't think they're actually doing the public a lot of favors. So I was even putting messages out today that the guy who suckered a lot of people into buying a cryptocurrency at the top of the market there last year is at it again. And if you actually look at the asset that he's going on about, you actually have to look at it if you are an educated market participant, and you have to ask yourself, what the hell? Why on earth would I buy an asset here? This is crazy. So, I don't know what you do. Like I said, I'll never be invited to the cool kids table. It sucks. I just won't. But I tell you, I think we're going to try and create our own cool kids sort of community over the next year or so. I'm actually, I haven't really been overly optimistic about much of late. Well, that's not the right word. Looking forward to, I don't know. What do you call that? Really, I guess looking forward to. There is probably a word to describe it. But I'll say, yeah, like enthusiastic, like anticipating, hopeful, excited, like optimistic. Like there's something brewing in the backwoods of Portugal, and it's got my name written all over it. And I'm over the top enthusiastic about the potential going forward here. Just super excited. Yeah, Chris. So I guess the point being that we're gonna try and do our just keep doing our thing. We now have the tools to give us a very clear image of the market right now. Don't need to stress about this. Just go with the flow. And the market and the tools on the site now actually it's very simple. All we just don't think. Just let the tools that we've built just do their job. And then the great part about it, of course, is that I came to crypto 10 years ago. I think big a request of Spirit was that this space really needed maybe a little bit of a guiding light. Uh, I honestly believe that, right? I've told you all. Jojo said to me explicitly that I had the opportunity to make a big change, a positive difference in this world, and I think we're doing that just one person at a time, grassroots, slowly. The videos get somewhere around 1,000 views a week, so obviously the message is getting out. The good part about it is I eat my own cooking. So everything that I tell you to do, I'm doing myself. So, and the great part about it is accounts have done very well. I guess the sucky part about it right now is that we have to understand, and this is going back to this dude. And this is the one thing, I don't know whether I was recording this or not, but one thing that I heard from this dude that really impressed me was and the environmentalists, I think they don't understand this, is the world and the earth is in constant change. If it's one thing that you can actually depend on in this world is change. And I don't like change. So does that make me an environmentalist? I don't know. But I'll tell you, if it's one thing, in fact, I went through about a 10, 15-year period there where I was so happy-go-lucky and nothing changed. And I had the most beautiful woman. It was an absolute joy to have her as a part of my life. And we went on, I guess it was about a good 8 or 9 years where it was just things were good, and I never had cause to really complain too much. I was very spoiled, and nothing changed. That, interesting enough, that was through the 1990s, which in a weird sort of way, I think, because I live in Western society, I think actually that was sort of a cycle peak. So problem with that is that nothing ever stays constant. And gee whiz, oh my goodness. If anything, I often suggest people, I don't even know how to describe it. As good as that was, I've been to hell and back over the past 11 years. Literally watch the love of your life die right in front of you. So, and then, of course, I have my challenges with Liam. And the interesting thing is Liam seems to be frozen in that time as well. He's still like literally he echoes echolalics his references to that whole part of his life. Anyway, don't mean to get too sentimental here. Sorry about that, everybody. Anyway, so the point of this gentleman here and listening to this video, and I really liked it. I don't know whether I'm going to get into trouble for copyrights and stuff, but I'm not playing it. I'm just showing you the screenshot. Anyway, he basically said that nothing ever stays the same. It always is changing, always changing, always changing. Yes, the humans are accelerating this sort of change from cold to warm on planet Earth. But to expect that everything would stop and you have the earth and the temperature and the water levels and organic activity to stay exactly constant on earth actually is a bad thing. That actually one sign of life is this constant change. It's a cycle. It just constantly is turning, which I thought was fascinating. It's a different way of looking at the world, right? In fact, maybe what's going on environmentally, heaven forbid I say this, but maybe this change has actually been going on for thousands of years. And that actually parts of the world that are deserts now actually used to be lush oases. And that it wasn't part of some guy driving an automobile around that did that. It was an asteroid slamming into the planet Earth like 15,000 years ago, melting all of the ice off the North American ice cap. Oh, not allowed to say that. So anyway, point of the matter here is I think change is the one thing you absolutely can expect in this world. And that's bullish and bearish. If anything, what bothers me with Bitcoin and every single cycle, it's exactly the same. And I've been through 3 of these now. Every time we go face ripping up, everybody's like, that's it. It's never coming back. You missed your opportunity. Suckers. It's sort of like, come on. Where's the best chart to show you? That's this one here. Ironically enough, these cycles are actually stunningly similar. So the good part about Bitcoin, of course, a grow only market, a rise only market, but go up as soon as we get 70-80% corrections. If you believe in this story and you believe in the up only thesis, which seems to work so far, then you got to force yourself to step in and buy. And then the next one that comes around, so that's this one, 70-80% correction, got to force yourself to step in and buy. Then this one, why would this be any different? And if you don't listen to me, I always like the idea. Simon Dixon out there, very well respected. Now, all of his videos, I always hear him say, you want to buy this asset, just wait for this 70-80% corrections and then start buying. So I don't see any reason why this would be any different. The only issue here is, do we go like straight down like this? I don't think so. Believe it or not, and this is kind of a cool study I did recently. This is what I actually think our path is going to be like. So, we had this sort of crazy ass thesis that this particular 4-year cycle was a lot like the 2012-13 and then 13-14, rally and then sell off. The only problem was that when the market did start to ramp up here in the fall, we didn't go absolutely parabolic. And ironically enough, I actually think one of the reasons why we didn't go parabolic is too many people were expecting it to go parabolic. The market will always do the exact opposite thing of what everybody's expecting. If anything, markets that you want to invest in are the markets where people are like, oh, I don't know. No way. There's no way it could go up there. No way. No way. Those are, believe it or not, are actually, those are the markets you want to concentrate on. Also, too, we had actually very public figures, right? All the Glassnode people and Willy Woo and all that. I mean, they had a big, big following. So, ironically enough, and then, what is the one thing that you heard out of people? And I hate when this happens. The one thing you heard out of people right here. And as soon as you hear it, you know that the goddamn market's done. Cool. Are you somehow channeled into my subconscious? I don't know what it is about you. Like you and I, literally, we thinking the answers that I pose the questions to. It's like literally they're coming right out as soon as I pose them. It's great. I hope half of this wisdom helps you, or I hope it's wisdom. Let's see. Yeah. Well, there you go. Prince, he already knows where this is coming. So we started, this time it's different and all that. And of course, that's sort of the kiss of death. I hate to say it, but that damn Allen guy, right? He was the one who sort of put the kibosh on all this. He was coming out touting his altcoin right in here. And literally, that was the top of the market. It's just absolutely stunning. It was almost like, the market got, if anything, I'm almost feeling like this rally here, because of what Allen's influence was, it actually exaggerated. I think that this move here originally should have been just like a perp up here and then maybe a pullback, and then that set up the rally if everything had gone sort of normal. But nope. And that's, is Allen maybe in himself some sort of disruptive influence in the market? You tell me. I don't even know if the guy's even human or not. But anyway, that's another conversation for another day. All right. The funny thing is he keeps warning the world about artificial intelligence. What happens if one day he just rips off his face and it's you remember what was it? The bionic? No. There was one TV show from the 70s and they would rip off their faces and they were robots underneath their faces. I wouldn't be surprised. He goes, see, I told you, you should have been worried. Now you're all my slaves. Anyway. So anyway, the similarities of these cycles I find stunningly similar. I gotta sneeze, so bear with me here a second. But the way that I used to joke with the site members, you don't even know whether I'm human or not. But I think I have so many flaws, though. There you go. You go. There's no way that this guy could be a robot. He makes too many mistakes. Anyway. All right. So the point of the matter here is, I think we're somewhere like right in here right now. I do like the idea of a counter trend rally, and usually the way the stock market goes is, believe it or not, there's actually like a seasonality trade here, and a lot of people on Wall Street actually make a living just purely off of this seasonality. Not so much, touting the seasonality, but understanding the mechanisms of what's actually going on here. So I guess I'll just do a new chart. New charts, more charts, more charts. Like if we look at the venture exchange, it's interesting that with the Chinese Olympics and all that shit that's going on there. But typical venture exchange, what would normally happen is, and it's probably, even in this situation, it actually worked out. But they're going to buy sort of the beginning of the year and even into the end of the year, and then into May, June, July, right? So this is buy when it snows, sell when it goes. And there's even a big dip in here. Of course, that was all like sickness nonsense. Let's see if we even have any. This, I suppose, is one here. So buy when it snows. And actually, this is what the oil market looks like right now. And then sell when it goes. So there's a seasonality trade. In obviously friendly markets, this works quite a bit better. You can see 2018 wasn't so friendly. Buy when it snows, sell when it goes. That was, I guess, a wash. Buy when it snows. Look at that. They were just buying all right into that tax loss selling. Sell when it goes. That's up into here. So not much, but a little bit of a bounce. So anyway, hopefully what you're seeing, I guess maybe I'm a little worried that it might be something like this, but usually you see there's a little bit, somewhat of a bump up. Now, here's, this is where they knock the cover off the ball, right? So buy when it snows, sell when it goes. Woohoo, we're all rich. So that's the typical seasonal trade here for the stock market. So if we go buy when it snows, that's sort of buying into this dip. Theoretically, sell when it goes. That should be some sort of uppy kind of market in here. That's what I'm feeling. Now, here we are. We're in May. So you can see that, even if they did have the tenacity to buy right into the year end, and actually look at that. That's even middle of January there. So if the pros were buying into there and they're going to be wanting to sell into May, June, July, that kind of thing, probably that's our upside limit on things like the venture market. And keep in mind that the venture market, I think, is probably the closest tied to crypto. Because I know you guys love your crypto and all that, but I still think it's extremely venture capital. I mean, hell, you guys saw what the hell happened with Danny there over the past year or so. Is that not the definition of venture capital? I'm ruler of the world. No, I'm not. That's the way venture cap goes. I mean, one day they're absolute princes, the next day they can't by a friend. I mean, that is. You want a fun assignment? Great Del Moody over there on YouTube, a great historical lesson. Just Google Murray Pesum, right? And everybody, I'll even do it for you. And actually, I should. I don't remember how to spell his name. Yeah. So this guy happened to be in the mining industry, but he's just typical stock promoter. Hey, there he is. 1998 inductee, Murray Pesum. Anyway, no idea what the hell this is. But perfect example. He and Danny would be almost absolutely carbon copies, just from different generations. And obviously, this guy's a bit older. But in his youth, right? Very, very same. And actually, speaking of which, same sort of idea. A name that I looked at in the recent crypto show that we do on Wednesdays. What was it? It was Bcash, right? BCH. Roger Ver. Roger Ver, I think, mind you, some people are telling me that maybe he's not associated with the story anymore. I don't know. But I look at this Bcash, and then I asked all of you guys, what's going on with this story? And some really interesting stuff. So I got to tell you, in a world of crypto that's not really very investable, this one actually looks like it's sort of down at the bottom end of its range. You go kick the tires, see what the hell are they actually doing? Just but from me to you, this is a name that actually looks like it's got technical potential. Obviously, no guarantees from the management. Nothing ever is. But I don't think you're walking into a trap buying something like this. So anyway, venture cap. I guess I was talking to you guys just specifically, and actually it might be interesting to look at. Problem is that venture cap in the U.S. market isn't really described well by the Russell 2000, because it's not. I mean, yes, there's small cap companies, but a lot of the companies are in like tens of millions of dollars, and that's like micro cap down in the States. So I don't know whether it actually even is really that great of a venture capital sort of proxy. It's sort of like these are companies that actually are relatively established. Venture capital, like I said, my CDNX. Now that's venture cap if you've ever seen one. So I actually often suggest people, if they want to watch the venture cap market, like was it IX? I think that's what it was. What the hell did I just have? Well, anyway, venture. I had the symbol there a second ago, just not stock. Venture. It's like IX or XY or something like that. What the hell is the damn symbol? Anyone? There it is, JX. That's what I want. All right, thank you for your help. Come on, I'm wasting time. Okay. Well, really? Can't be that similar, can it? No. There's no way that looks like that. Does it? Oh, son of a bitch. Really? Russell 2000 and the Venture look this close. I can't believe that. Wow. Yeah, boy, I learn something new every day. I thought these were wickedly disconnected. Yeah, you can see like through here, Russell 2000 didn't break down, but the venture market got slammed here. So, okay. Well, I stand corrected. Interesting divergence here. Well, that's probably some interesting information that we want to keep an eye on. Notice how this was a divergence through here, right? So, I don't know what that actually tells us in particular, but I would actually describe a lot of similarities between the venture cap market and in the stock market and crypto. If anything, when I look at this, I'm a little concerned. Like if we just do this one, right, we probably need to come back down in here. That looks very bothersome. Not quite sure what to make out of this div, but notice how Russell 2000 did have to puke out there at the very end. So, Russell 2000, its bottom is there to there. So I don't know how this puke out has to go, but I wouldn't be surprised if we have to dip down into there. But interesting. So, wow, I learned something. I taught myself something new today, that actually the venture market in Canada and the venture market in the States are actually look a hell of a lot similar. So, that kind of backdrop, I like the idea of there being some sort of seasonal push here. You can kind of see that, buy when it snows. They all loaded up through here. So I think they're going to want to get paid. I really do. In fact, probably this is like 38.2s. And we can't really define this as a bear until, yeah. So you can't call this a bear. If anything, what you have to say is, I have to let the 38.2 be resolved. If we go and M out, all right, it's over. But actually, what it looks like to me is we're getting ready for another ramp up here. So is this enough for a bullish bot setup? I don't think so. But I'll tell you, it's awfully close. The interesting thing is I could see us just sort of flounder around here. That would make sense to me. Why? Because if we go back to the website, where the hell that is, where do we have that? Here. I think I have the, nope, that's going to take it there. So we got to go, I got to get good at this. So go here, TRI blog. Where's TRI blog? TRI blog. This image is Decennial, but it's interesting. Somebody did post in the lounge this morning that Larry did a new video. So I'll have to go check in with that. I haven't watched it. Of course, head off to Liam here relatively soon. So once I'm done with him, I'll probably watch it this evening. But this was sort of his prognostication of what to expect through the year. Maybe we'll even update this after I go and see what Larry had to say. And I get the feeling that there's sort of like going to be a bit of a push into the spring here. And then, of course, the cliche goes, sell in May and walk away. So can they engineer some sort of rally so the Wall Street people who buy when it snows, they all went long, actually all through here. Can they at least salvage something out the backside of this seasonal window? Also, too, and the image that I'm really thinking about here is the typical U.S. election year. And notice, second year, new Democrat president. Well, that's basically what we are. All right, so we're in the second year of Biden as a new Democratic president. So that's sort of this dark, dotted blue line. I think that's this one. Notice April, May, rally mid-April, beginning of May. This is the Democratic president midterm. Oh, actually, maybe this might even be this one. But the point here is you can see there's a top that's supposed to come in here through April and into early May. And of course, everybody knows what are you supposed to be thinking if it gets around Brian's birthday. And from now on, every time the markets sell off, you're gonna through the month of May and into June, you're gonna be, thanks, Brian, did it again, bastard. I don't know, maybe yes, maybe no. So this is what I'm thinking. Now, have we topped here and are we starting the rollover process? I actually kind of think we're sort of like right in here. So we'll see how it goes. It is still a bit early. This is U.S. tax deadline, Canadian tax deadline coming up here. So, all through this area, somewhere up in this area, I think there is going to be some sort of top. And then we get the seasonal dumpage. Ugh. I've also heard too that the inflation numbers, the year-over-year comparisons are supposed to be the worst here in May, June. So just be aware of that. All the econs that we see coming out showing massive hyper inflation. They're the ugliest year-over-year numbers are in here. Which means that once we sort of get through this trough in early July, especially if we have second quarter earnings numbers coming out and they're relatively okay, you might actually find that the market catches a nice bid through this July through September window here. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Then I think, believe it or not, especially around the U.S. fiscal year end, I think the Fed's going to have to be on the back burner. They don't want to be perceived as being part of the election. So my hunch is all of the interest rate, like hell, the Bank of Canada just raised interest rate 50 beeps. So get used to it. You might see quite a bit of that out of the U.S. Feds coming down because they don't want to be perceived over here as influencing the election. Then, believe it or not, what I actually expect is once the election is out of the way, this could be quite tumultuous in here, right? If anything, we've got, I don't know whether you can believe what's coming out of China, but technically, they're locking down huge chunks of their economy. And somebody over there is posting, interesting that you mentioned that just as we go. So somebody's looking for, a 50% haircut in the market through this event. And I don't know if what's going on in China is for real, then get ready, folks. Here we go again. And then what sucks, of course, is that we're going to have a whole bunch of, idiot money thrown at the market. But because it's heading into an election, who knows what the hell's going to happen? They might even say, well, you know what? We're going to wait for the stimmy package for after the election. You might find that that's the case, and if the Democrats go, no, lots of stimmy now. Well, then the Republicans are probably going to win the election. So the Democrats are probably going to go, well, you know what? Fine. We'll leave it up to the electorate. You see how sick everybody is. Use your better judgment. And then maybe the Democrats come back and win. Regardless, once we're on the other side of that election event, I think the market actually is going to go into pretty strong rally mode into the end of the year. So, oh boy, this next few months going to be a bit of a challenge, everybody. Just be prepared. There's no hurry to go and spend your money right now. I think you just got to cool your jets. Which is, that also brings me back to something. I mean, knowing what's coming down the pike here, whether it be typical election year, whether it be the January barometer. I mean, they're expecting an absolute train wreck out of the January barometer. Whether it be the Decennial report, whether it be the fact that we got interest rates cranking higher here, which, of course, is not a good sign for stocks, which is a risk asset. One might argue that, interestingly enough, now this is one interesting argument for crypto. is one might argue that with the hyperinflation, that the cost of production has been rising dramatically for Bitcoin. I'll believe that argument if and when we start actually getting electricity rates starting rising appreciably. In our little model here of sort of cost of production, we have the S17s sitting at electricity rate a nickel per kilowatt hour. I guess you can see, I don't know whether I have these numbers right. Shane actually was the one who programmed this originally. And the S19s, we also have a nickel per kilowatt hour. That number might have to be adjusted dramatically now, considering the hyperinflation. Ironically enough, you know what I think ends up happening here is I think that, yeah, the cost of production rises, but it's just going to simply meet the reload zone. And when we do get our dumps into reload zone, people are going to start talking about potential for 51% attacks. And we go and bottom out like we normally do. Interesting too, though, this was sort of in a world where we could have more semiconductors and more technology, and the economy was really sort of, we need this. So here, crypto people go, and and Nvidia and all that, they got their huge jazz through the purchase of new mining equipment and all that. And sort of the whole industry was in like just a ramp up phase. Of course, Taiwan Semiconductor became, oh my God, it's the shit. So are they now unwinding that trade? I don't know. That's a good question. I do hear that there's still many supply chain concerns. Be real interesting to see how the Taiwanese are still doing in semiconductor manufacturing. Have they slowed down at all? Are they speeding up? Who's actually getting the semiconductors that they're making? And then, of course, are the prices of their mining rigs and stuff going through the roof? I think I saw Sebastian last week posted a bunch of studies about prices of mining rigs skyrocketing. Does that affect the cost of production? Are there enough of these machines out there in the circulation to sort of mitigate the short-term price fluctuation? Those are interesting questions. And if anything, that's a kind of conversation that I'd like to see more of in crypto. But right now, of course, like I said, in crypto, I feel like that crypto right now is actually in putting out fire mode. Probably, and somebody asked me to look at this. Obviously, it's not going to be the happiest of conversations. A bunch of these cryptos, of course, that we're super bullish, they're kind of coming back down to earth. And I think that's probably healthy. It's probably good. You don't ever really want to see a market go for too long in one direction. So, where's our crypto list? It's actually first put together by Dave. I don't see Dave on the site too much anymore. It's too busy with Benji. But anyway, Luna, interesting story. Probably will be sort of one of the look back on this particular crypto cycle as sort of one of the darling success stories. How does that, I was thinking about trend continuation patterns. Probably do this on like a daily or something. But, at some point, every bull runs out of steam. I mean, look where this silly thing has come from. Probably if we look at it on a log scale, we'll see a little bit better chart, Yeah, this is 12 cents. 12 cents. Here we got all the way up to $100. So, maybe something like this. It's about time these things just calm down a little bit. I did notice recently, I'll try and keep it on a log scale so you can see the price action a little clearer. So the question was, did the orgy continue? And that's sort of what this upper channel was. If the orgy did continue, we would have blasted through the top. It would have been I still don't really have a name for this chart pattern. You actually see one working on Bitcoin right now. I don't know what I did with that chart. It's probably gone now. it's gone. Oh well. Anyway, I had a bearish one on Bitcoin working earlier, and it almost has hit the downside objective. This one, it didn't work. Obviously, you can see the floor fell out of the market, so it's kind of irrelevant now. So interesting. This actually is a really good application of Cullen's pump chaser zone, where if you were a bull and you were kind of like, okay, don't want to chase, I want to wait for a half decent zone. Remember we had talked earlier about 38.2s have to be resolved. I think that was on Bitcoin. This one, we've come right down in, smacked 50% roll, a little bit of a dead cat bounce. This is a daily chart, so a couple days up. And boom, rolled over. Potential 3-bar bearish fractal here that'll fire if we go through that low there. So that low there is 79.12. That's probably also a psychological level too, accepting below $80 into the $70 range, probably. Notice here, $60. I wouldn't be surprised in the short term. You see some play off of 72. So, basically what's happening here is if we lose 80, it's going to go down to 70, right? And probably play against that tail right in there. Loses 70, it's going to go down to 60, right? And then we're back into this range, loses 60. And this is probably around $50. Yeah, bottom of this tail is 50. So you can see it's kind of moving in $10 increments. I might make the argument, actually, interestingly enough, I don't know where that comes from. Yeah, that comes off of the bottom all the way down at these $4 or $5 lows. This is actually where we originally bought. At least I bought for the little fun Trex account. It was so funny. I sell half on double, sell half on double. And then, this one was like, I guess that's 30. So we had another sell half on a double, got up into the 60s. Oh, yeah, right there. And then I had orders working at 120, but all of these damn fogging bombs. What a great analogy of good old fogging bomb jerk. Look at this one, this one, this one, this one. It was just too much. Market just could not break through there. And I never got my sell half on a double order filled here at 120. Boo, hiss, boo. Yeah, well, I'm not really in any big hurry. It's more fun than anything else. And fundamentally, I actually think this story is pretty solid. I think it's just, if we probably look at the momentum indicators, Willie was stupidly overbought. Here's a great analogy. This is why I built this tool. This is why I teach it to you guys. But I used to have a client of mine who used to literally, I could set my watch as soon as Willie got stupidly overbought. And of course, we're in this rip-roaring bull, right? Williams percentage R index itself, if it's above 20, that's a bull market. This could be embedded and it could just go sideways. I'm a bull, look at me. But as soon as this moving average gets into overbought, it's just like, here you can see it. When it got oversold, that was the time to turn. So as soon as it got overbought, I could almost set my watch that Willie's going to call me. Hey, I want to buy that Bitcoin. That Bitcoin's going up, or I guess in this case, Luna. And that's a warning sign. Just leave it alone. So down we go. If anything, it's kind of good to see. We're now actually getting to the point where Willie's going to call me up and looking to sell his Lunas. And if anything, technically speaking, what I'd love to see is just come right down into good old reload zones. You can see you can drive a truck through this reload zone. It's just absolutely huge. Right down into there, right off of the original market structure bottom. You've heard Brian talk about wicks and tails like to be eaten. You've heard me talk about candle body lows for trade location. I love this. It's going to be damn difficult, right? Stabs down into here. And, keep in mind, these are a whole bunch of trap bears. They would love to get out. You don't know how that's going to act. And because these are like these DeFi names, you don't know where the liquidity pushes are going to come from. So my general feeling here is try not identify this as basically the zone, but understand that that's $60 and down here is 43. That's a $17 range that you could see some crazy ass tail come into here. This, half of the reason why I like just concentrating on 78.6, what you're probably going to find, it'd be interesting to keep an eye on this because you can kind of see that we could go like A to B, right? And then, whoops, clone. And I think that TradingView will even adjust this for the fibs, for the log scale. Oh yeah, look at that. It works. So C to D, look at that. Right on this trend line. Oh my God, you can't write this stuff better, eh? Look at that. So if I'm going to be, this is what we would call a PRZ. So now I've got a trend line to work with. Ideally, you don't want to short that because usually what ends up happening is it comes back like that. I've got the 78.6. This is a Benkoff check named after my show co-host on Sundays right there. There's a lot of reason to think that that's a trade location in there, folks. But because it's DeFi, you don't know where the liquidity pushes are. In fact, actually, Sjord has a site that you can go in and place buy orders on the condition that they are liquidations. And I love that kind of thinking, right? Because that's thinking like an institution. Panic is dumping. They're panicking. They're getting liquidated. They're wiped out. What are you doing? Well, that's when I'll come in and start thinking about nibbling. That's pro trading, folks. So I would be keeping an eye on that. Maybe even tomorrow in Monday's daily brief on the site, we'll take a look at that and have Stuart talk to us a little bit about that. So things are looking a little tough here, folks. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Don't like the news coming out. In fact, actually, I put a tweet out and I basically said, now, sometimes, believe it or not, sometimes what I see happen in the marketplace is I will actually put a tweet out sort of ahead of these Sunday shows. I'll outline some levels, and because this is such a thin market, I'll actually see people purposefully go after my levels that I've pointed out in these shows. I don't think it's egotistical. I actually think that I'm actually providing liquidity levels, and people look at my videos and go, "Yep, I like that. I'm going to go after that level." So, if anything, it's weird how it almost becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I'm trying to find the chart that I had up earlier that describes sort of Bitcoin. I think it was here. All right, so I'll just do a quick boo on this, and then we'll hop on over to the questions, and then I got to take off for Liam. So first and foremost, I had sort of said yesterday that I didn't mind the idea of hunting longs off of the bottom here, 78.6s, and it's kind of cool. I heard somebody on sort of social media go, "Fucking A, man, that was my trade. Awesome, yeah." So we had a period of rally. As I had said in yesterday's video, I kind of like the idea that this was a weak buy. That was sort of this initial cross on the breadth there. So I've included a little picture of our breadth indicator here on the tweet to try and help you see what I'm seeing. So that was this sort of breakout double bottom kind of idea. That was this move here. But the problem is that teal's still pointing down. So the breakout there, we like to call that a weak signal. And of course, we came back down. Interesting, we put in this really crisp little head and shoulders right in the reload zone at 78.6. I mean, just absolute textbook. Did notice I was a little surprised yesterday that when I did video and I sort of said, okay, keep your bids working, keep your eyes peeled on this 78.6, and notice they brought it down, and I think they wanted to correct this thing. They brought it down and only tagged Mountain Man there. Boo, hiss, hiss, boo. So if anything, this is kind of a situation, and I had sort of said out in yesterday's video that, hey, you want to keep an eye on this trend line here. It's a potential trend line. It's not a validated one just yet. We would need to trade up through here to validate this as a working trend line. So I think the market actually is playing with this trend line right now, and I guess that explains a lot of what just happened there. So Notice there's 78.6. And let's see it. Let's get a number on this because I see what they just did here, these jerks. So our drawn 78.6 here is 39,858. And that low that just came in, 39,859 and a quarter. Oh, those cocksuckers. Bastards. So that's a little surprising that they brought it all the way down to that level, but they couldn't tag 78.6. And I've told you guys, and I think I even pointed this out, like candle body lows for trade location, that little low there, the clothesline of that, there's a whole bunch of trap bears right in there. They would love to get released. That's 39,860. So literally, they brought it right into that level and then zingo back up. Fascinating. So I get the impression, and I don't even know that this might not even be accurate. And also, too, this is a good question of, is Stamp actually the best exchange? Is Coinbase? Did it trade down to there? Phoenix? Oh, God, all these damn crypto exchanges. So, but I think that actually there was just an interesting level there. Now, the interesting thing about this is I actually painted that I think this is a narrow sideways channel. And what's a little dangerous about this is you can kind of see they're washing both sides of the channel. Like this high here was 40.70 even, 40.70.01. Now, would that have happened if Chicago was open, New York, there's lots of liquid action, or because this is a funny, Christian holiday and a lot of people probably are, doing religious things or being with family and not really paying attention, are they able to sort of and then we went after the stops? Is that what's going on here to a certain degree? I think so. I'd also say too, though, that this isn't looking very optimistic. You now have you can see them all here, right? So there's this M that just came in here. That's a nasty structural fail. There's this M that just came in here. That's now a structural fail. This isn't exactly an M, right? Because we said that high slightly higher than that high. But this high up here, down here, up here, that fired. So we got now 3 different M's that have all fired and no W's now. Boo, hiss, hiss, boo. So I think I pointed out earlier, why would this happen? We had some inertia, things were pointing up, but man, we're getting a whole bunch of, and I don't know whether I mentioned it earlier, but half of my reason why I have this guy as a moniker is we gotta worry about these damn fools. Like, what are these? This is the one thing that undermines the space. And what's so fascinating is that all you people are like, oh, the regulators, we hate them. Oh, no, get rid of the regulator. Well, the regulators are trying to protect you from these assholes. Just keeps happening over and over and over. So, like I said, bang, there goes one. Bang, there's another one. That's what's derailing your bull here. It's these crypto people are derailing the crypto bottom that's trying to come in. That's the way I'm interpreting it. Now, could this hack have been done by nefarious characters that happen to have jobs at Joey Diamond's School of Market Manipulation? Or what's a Blankenstein, Blankenberger? Anyway, you know who I'm talking about. Remember, this is an unregulated space. So the worst part about this is you don't even know. This son of a bitch here, he might have been a Goldman Sachs employee the whole damn time. He's actually under the payroll. And he might also be given $1 million bonus if he just keeps his fucking mouth shut. You keep your fucking mouth shut and you take the fall and you make it look like it's a whole bunch of, cloak and dagger yahoos that are screwing around with the market, but in reality, it is Goldman Sachs. They will pay him a $5 million, $10 million bonus 5-10 years down the road, as long as you keep your fucking mouth shut, you piece of shit. You're going to take the fall for this. And he goes, okay, for $5 million, why not? So just, this is the worst part about this crypto space with it being so unregulated, is you don't even know who your friends and your enemies are. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. And I've often joked about this. I would not be surprised at the end of the day if I find out that my two business partners, one of them works for the Central Intelligence Agency out of the United States, and the other one works for the European Intelligence Agency out of Brussels. Would not surprise me one bit. And they've got this crypto space down lock and key. If we do anything, if Brian Beamish puts his foot in his mouth and does anything illegal, we got him by the short and curlies. And that's half the reason why I don't want to do anything. I just want to talk to you guys. I want to build out my site that is basically just one big fat algorithm. And it's not like I'm telling you what to buy. And of course, it all has legal disclaimers like, John, make damn sure you buy this stuff, our asses are covered. I'm not going to go down as some sort of crypto shill. It's just, I'll teach you how to trade. I'll teach you how to run your small business trading, but I'm not going to shill you some sort of idea that's put my neck in the news. Just ain't going to happen. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what was the conclusion out of that? The conclusion out of this was I like the bullish talk. Everything was sort of feeling bullish, but we're getting punched in the nose by fundamental events that are happening in this space, and that concerns me. And because of the precarious sort of place where we are in the marketplace, one thing that concerns me about this recent price action, actually, there's a few things, but a couple things I'll mention before we hit that Q&A document is number one, we're trying to bottom here, and I know this looks like a mess, so I'll just sort of here. Let's put all this away. We're trying to bottom here, but I don't see any W yet. So we'd probably, down, up, down, up, down. I mean, come on, you. Well, it's W. Right? You can change that to a line chart. Show me a W. Don't show me an M. If you show me an M, what's that? What are we supposed to think if we see the market smiling at us? So don't go and M out here on the higher time frames. But a couple of things, a couple of technical things that bother me. And it's going to be hard to see this, but number one, and actually maybe I'll go down to a lower time frame so you can see it. So I'm going to make reference to price action back here. So let's go in hourly. Should be able to see it. Yeah, there we go. So remember I had made reference to that Luna kind of, and I still don't know what the fuck to call this formation, but I see it all the time in my trading. A to B, cockeyed rectangle. And we can even do the rectangle off of that low there. Then C to D, right? So boom, 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 boom. That gives us a target down here, which is a little bit lower than all of these lows. I don't like that. So that bothered me. Then if I did a Feigenbaum chaos study off of the top, so this is a big honking M top, boom, 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 boom. So we can do a chaos theory Feigenbaum study from there to there, that 2.618. You see it says $39,042. So that is also lower than these lows, right? That lowest low there is 39,218. So that's still good, but almost a couple $100. So we've got foggy buggies. We got ABCDs. That's what this one is here. And there's also another Foggy Boggy. And this Foggy Boggy just fired off of this M that came in here. And he's sitting down there at 38,905. So I was worried earlier, and I got the impression that the futures traders, who I think are really driving this bus, they're over here. And look at this funny looking chart pattern that they left on the corn. There's that 2.618 that we talked about earlier. There's Mountain Man at 38,820. And we haven't traded back to a Mountain Man level in a while. All right, this is up here to there, Mountain Man there. So there's the futures traders. Foggenbaum has not been traded to. There's Mountain Man. Mountain Man almost always gets traded to. So what the fucking fuck? And candle body lows are trade occasions. So really, I'd be hunting that damn level there. 30, what's that? That's 30, what's the close on this thing? 38,325. And then also this one here, right? 37,540. And then, of course, we got John's killer ass ATR script. And right now you can see it's sitting based on, I don't know whether, I think this is based on this settlement. I think actually I got rid of settlement because there was too much to show on the chart. Where the hell did I put that? Oh, I think. Oh, no. All right. Not quite sure. Anyway, it's ATR. Look at that ATR level sitting right down there, right by Foggy, right by Mountain Man. That's not good. Keep in mind, I love to hunt trade setups. The boys did a public YouTube video off of a Russell 2000 short that developed right on an ATR level. It was so cool. So the point of the matter here is that if I'm actually thinking about buying corn in the futures markets, I'm actually going to be hunting this 38,820 level Mountain Man and that Foggenbaum. And then also too, who can tell me what's the percentage of times that gaps get filled in? Is there a statistical probability of the market doing nothing more? And keep in mind, actually, this is a red candle, so technically the gap is actually right there. But what's the statistical probability of this gap being filled in, especially if you saw that big up day? And then notice we did not go through that high. If we had gone through that high, then you might have gone, whoa, short-term trend continuation, fractal bottom, away we go, island bottom. But we didn't do that. You can see, in fact, this is even an inside bar. And if we open up and close, but not close, but we open up and actually trade through this low here tomorrow morning, or I guess later on this afternoon when these futures markets come back, that's a sell signal. Anyway, the answer I was looking for, if you didn't know, is that gap should be filled in about 91% of the time. That's a big number, 91%. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, get filled today or tomorrow, but the odds of Bitcoin trading back down in there, I think, are extremely high. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Ethereum also left a gap. Yeah, so Ethereum also left a gap there. So it's both. And keep in mind, this Ethereum chart, these futures guys, they still have a bearish AB equals CD pattern working. And of course, there you can see John's ATR level. So both of these markets from a futures trader's perspective are still pointing down. There are no buy signals here. So just be aware of that, everybody. Now, what I think sort of happened here over the weekend, for whatever it's worth, and it's not really worth that much, but I'll give you my opinion. What I think happened here was, we had breadth indicators washed out. Where's our little breadth image? Oops, did I get rid of it? I guess I did. We had the breadth indicator washed out. So the market was due for some sort of dead cat bounce. Kind of felt like a little bit of where the hell's the damn image? Oh, there it is. Okay, so let's go back to, hopefully it's still on here. Oh, am I a doofus? Maybe it's just way up here. There it is. All right, so we had the breadth washed out. The only problem with this is, I mean, look at the medium term. It's just flatlining here. So it's not like we're getting any broader market participation. And in fact, if we actually look at the broader market breadth over here, God, I'm talking way too much. I gotta fucking get going, or excuse me, I gotta get going on those questions. Okay, breadth. We'll just do this and we'll finish. So I'm just not overly impressed. And then you hear the fun, and keep in mind, the broader stock market, it's not happy at all right now, right? Oh, this looks horrible. I got a little bit of a buy signal in Australia. But look at the broader crypto universe, right? And this is going to take into account all those stories of the hacks and all this stable coins. Oh my God, what the hell's going on there? And all these sort of smaller names in the cryptoverse. There was another one of these weak buy signals at best. The worst part about this, though, is we're not even really that oversold here. So if these and what I would say is probably the best way to sort of figure out what the direction of the market is how do these stories play out? If you start hearing that, oh no, actually it turns out that we were able to roll the thing back, and no, there was no hack, and everybody's a whole, and it's not that big of a deal. Or, wow, it turns out that this guy was able to get his money back, and it's not that big of a deal, and everybody's fine. Okay, great. Then maybe we can continue rallying. But this, I think, is a case where we were set up. Things look like they were trying to put in some sort of floor. The news itself is not helping. And you might find that the whole damn market just rolls right back over. Actually, not a bad way to finish this sort of thinking. If you start seeing closes below here, we've already got a bunch of M's working. So keep in mind, bearish bought people, they actually might even start going, well, one high, two highs, three highs. I could justify thinking about a short down into these lows. If we just draw that out, let's see what it looks like. But I was supposed to stop talking. What the hell? So AB, CD. I really like that. Remember we said foggies. There's Mountain Man. It looks like this is a significant trend line going back a bit. Let's see where that trend line comes from. Oh, darn. Where was that? Oh, yeah. I guess that's down in, yeah, there we go. Down in there. Oh, I guess that's just that small one there, right? So this is actually, wow, look at that. That's a pretty darn important trend line there. Off of the highs, then off of this high, then down against these lows, then against that high, then this M top, rally failure, nice pivot there. Look how that trend line is so old, but in essence respected. So right back down. I don't see why we can't trade back against this trend line another couple days. Where are we here? 30 minute? I think that's what we're on. So that's what this trend line is. So if, number one, if you're so inclined, maybe you're hunting bearish spots. I don't know. It's not really something I want to do. But having said that, if you're like, man, there's bearish inertia, all the sell signals and stuff, I like the idea of having some shorts on. And if this thing just pukes out, look out. But I do like the fact that we're coming into Mountain Man. We've got this A, B, C, D. We've got this high to low trend line going back forever. We got some foggies. If we do puke out here, I actually really do like a nice date somewhere down in that 38 and change area. If we can hold on here, right, we can start Wing out again. We've done a lot of technical damage. So I'd say the ball is with the bear right now. But if we can W out here and start turning this thing back up, then I could see a rally up into these 2.618. Mind you, this 2.618 has now been broken as we've gone through that low now. So that's off the table. So this 2.618 is still working, I think. Why can I not see that? Oh, look at that. So interesting how this ABCD objective and the 2.618 are that same level. So it's not painting a pretty picture, folks. This is a hell of a battle here, right? And I even did hear somebody say, well, Brian, I went and strapped on a long here. I don't know. In the face of this, you can see it's kind of waning. Do you want to maybe just hop off at scratch? Just let the dust settle. We start seeing some more encouraging price action. It's not a bad idea. Professional traders, half your job is he who fights and runs away lives to fight another day. Strapping on shorts to attack this, you got to be ballsy. I don't mind that thinking, but at the same time too, we blast off through the top here. You better get the hell out. So leaning towards the bear side now. We was leaning towards the bull side. Things were looking good. And I even said, just let this narrow sideways channel resolve itself. That's going to dictate trade. So they dumped it here. Now leaning to the downside, and it's incumbent on the bull. They got to get their act together and start Wing this thing out again, or else we're probably heading down in earnest later on today. So that's what I see there. Boo, hiss, hiss, boo. And then, like I said, stories like Luna, if anything, get your stinky, juicy stink bids all ready to go. You might get some gifts here over the next week or so. Wow, that's not really that encouraging of a anecdote, eh? Sorry, guys. Okay, I'm going to pop on over to the questions. We'll try and do the questions for about a half an hour here or so, and then I'll leave you guys go. Sucks. I was actually hoping that things would be a much better conversation, a much more bullish conversation. So, shitty. Okay, number one. Hey, Brian, you mentioned Waves USD. And a major reversal pattern in December. Since then, it has done really well. Could you go recap what exactly you saw in December, please? Oh, I can try. Let's go new chart. And waves, good old waves. Of course, I think a lot of what's going on with this thing is it is a Russian proxy. So probably hugely significant with regard to Russia. All right, so here's December. I don't see any W's. I'm not quite sure what major reversal it was that I was referring to. I think you could probably make an argument that that's a pretty good looking bottom in there. So last sort of May, June, July, that would have been pretty good. Would have been difficult. I don't know whether I really like coming in and buying 61.8, but there it is. Probably LJs, probably W's on the other side of this trend line here. So anything bullish over here would probably be a half decent buy, which translated into that move. All of our indicators, not really anything to get excited about here. A bit of a bull dip, but price was making higher lows here. It's not really something I would be too excited about. Probably you can draw a trend line off of those peaks as well, like market structure. There. So bullish action over here, I suppose, could justify buys here. I suppose you could make an argument that there to there. So interesting how is a reload short zone. So I don't mind the idea of hunting bullish setups down here. to me like this was a narrow sideways channel right there. So I could understand bullishness here the end of February, beginning of March. I don't know about in December. And so, if I do eat my own cooking and if I'm relatively consistent, then what I should have been doing was, as we go along here, I have to reverse that. So as we go along here, and I'm thinking about counter trend rallies, I'm thinking about where this market can go. I'm thinking, do I have any bullish divergences to take me up into those rally windows? And I don't see any W's here, so I'm not quite sure how you said that in the middle of December I was bullish. I mean, maybe there was that. That was a pullback, and the market tried to W, but the buy signal would have been on a move through there. So W, nope, turned into another M. So I'm not quite sure how you saw that I was overtly bullish. Maybe it was versus Bitcoin. Suppose you could make the argument that coming back against here, this was in sort of a buying zone. I'm going to buy against the low ends of ranges here and take a shot. But unfortunately, if you're in that sort of, okay, I'm just knife catching, I'm just buying, that's not overly bullish. That's like nanny nibbles, 0.5% of whatever your stake is, whatever. And we'll go from there. I suppose you could make the argument Willie got stupidly oversold right in here. So that's November. So that wouldn't have been so bad. We got a little bit of a bull div right in here. So that painted this rally here. So a little bit of it, but RSI never did div out. And it doesn't look like, I suppose there was this buildup right up in here. But again, I don't see any W's. I'm not quite sure how you saw that. I mean, if anything, whoever asked this question, you mentioned had a major reversal pattern in December. Major reversal pattern. And that's as you have waves versus USD. So I am looking at waves versus USD here. I don't see a major reversal pattern. I'm sorry. I'm not quite sure what it is that you see here. I just don't see it. I do like this. This looks good, especially with the rally up against these highs. Then it spent a day kind of going, I don't know, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? And then just blast off. So, and also notice here, nice bottom in RSI. Willie's stupid. Give me a W, weekly W's. Actually, you know what this looks like? This looks like the way Bitcoin bottomed in 2015, I think it was. So check that image out right there. And comparison Bitcoin right here. Actually, wow, core patterns look almost identical. So you see how we went down, up, sideways, sideways, sideways. Hey, let's sucker everybody in up top, and then let's flush them all out below. But eventually, this is a big honking W, and we break out the top. So take a screenshot of that, and then take a screenshot of that. Look, it's almost identical, eh? What do you think? Anyway. I'm not, well, first and foremost, he hasn't bought out Twitter. Somebody says, what's your thoughts on Alan buying out Twitter? I don't like the idea whatsoever. I put out a tweet earlier to the effect saying, if you're coming in and you're buying Twitter up here, you're not really doing this job correctly. And the irony of it all is I remember on this site, we talked lots and lots about Twitter down here. And really, what Twitter really was originally was it was a play on Mr. Orange Toupee. And then, interestingly enough, after the big breakout, just like I show you on crypto, it's identical to the crypto setup. Dumped right into reload zones. I actually tagged 78.6 in the original double bottom. I mean, if you fancy yourself a trader, that's where you bought Twitter. Here? What? I remember Alan, right? This is Alan last year. I'm wondering when my class action lawyer is going to get in touch with me and ask me if I want to join the class action lawsuit and see if we can hold Mr. Elon to task over this absolutely horrendous performance. So, are you not stepping in on Twitter? The same as him getting everybody all excited about Doge last year? Is that not the same thing? So, what I will say is, I had a meeting with TRIers yesterday, and it doesn't surprise me that your generation is in love with him. That's fine. Very intelligent. What I really like about him is that he actually delivers on ideas, which is extremely hard to do in this world. So you got to give him kudos for that. And of course, also too, he's a very intelligent engineer, and I think he sort of sees a vision. And I might even argue that half of his gift and his ability is directly related to the fact that he suffers from Asperger's. So as a result, he can sort of get that tunnel vision and just keep going until something gets done. But as an investment advisor, no, I don't think that he acts in a fiduciary responsibility, and that's the absolute number one thing an investment advisor has to do. But of course, nobody does in social media. And that's the one thing that really, really bothers me about this world that we're heading into, is that there's no accountability for what people say. So why is Mr. Saturday Night Live Doge is like, what, 50, 60, 70 cents? And you got YouTubers going, la, 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 buy Doge, you'll get stinking rich. We're all going to get rich. It's going to $1, blah, la, 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 nonsense. And him not stepping in and specifically saying, do not buy Doge here. This is actually a trap. That's what he should have done if he actually had any sort of concern for the public's well-being, which I don't think he does. I think he's very, very in his own world. And like I said, a brilliant engineer, and he gets shit done, but that doesn't make a good investment advisor. So that I guess that's the way that I look at that situation. I would be very disappointed if I heard that TRIers were actually stepping in and buying this stock here right now. You all know the irony of it all is actually this is extremely simple. You just draw a trend line off of these lows, and at some point down the road, stock will probably come back down and play in reload zones, fill in gaps, come back against trend lines. I mean, just do everything that we talk about. And what bothers me is I think actually, in a weird sort of way, you don't even know. He might actually come in here and want to buy the company and then look to sell it, up top here. You don't know. I would not put it past people in this world to publicly say one thing, but actually privately have a completely different agenda when it comes to stock ownership and cryptocurrency ownership for that matter too. So, I'm going to leave it at that. My answer is think fiduciary responsibility. Really, frankly speaking, he has no business telling the public whatsoever what to buy or what to sell. He's not a licensed investment advisor. And you can't hold him to task if you buy something of his and it gets wiped out. I mean, that's half of the reason why he got run out of Tesla and the board the way that he did. So, anyway, that's my comment there. Sorry, everyone. Probably totally politically incorrect. You know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for my Mobies, damn it. I'm supposed to be living in a tent on the water. Now, what the fuck? Well, you know, Josh, I said earlier, I would not be surprised if people actually watch my comments and stuff and run levels that I mentioned. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. So anyway. All right, so I'm not quite sure how to answer that question on waves. I don't know whether I was like super bullish. Still don't see any W's there. But later on in January, February, it looks like W's came in. Okay, number 2. I know trading plans are personalized, but as useful guidance, what percentage of your total assets do you have in your trading portfolio? I assume, for example, when you say you're putting in 1%, it's not total assets. It's just your trading portfolio. I guess what are you talking? I mean, I would. You want to know my net worth? Is that what you're asking? I would say when I make reference on the site to 1% of my trading portfolio, it's about, I don't know, my trading portfolio is probably about maybe 10% of my net worth, maybe 20%. So if I'm putting in 5% of my total portfolio, or excuse me, of my trading stake, and my net worth is, and my trading portfolio is about 10 to 20%, then it means I'm putting in about 1%. If I put in 1% here, is that what you're saying? Yeah, 1%, then that would probably be about 5% of my trading portfolio. Yeah, I think that works out somewhere in that area. So I see, the problem is that I don't trust anybody. So what I would prefer to do is just sit in cash. So I like to sit on a mountain of cash. It's just who I am. Bitcoin comes back down to cost of production. All right, I'll go maybe buy some Bitcoins, but no, I'd rather just sit in cash, to be honest with you. I am not overly impressed with government guaranteed paper right now. I do understand that there is a concerted effort to dilute the value of cash, but I'm willing to take that purchasing power hit just so that I know that I have a huge pile of cash sitting there at my disposal. FYI, we're thinking about doing a deal in Portugal to get a piece of property. And make it like a TRI campus. I am willing to invest a large chunk of the cash that I have into an asset like that, but I'm not looking to make a capital gain on that asset. I'm looking that asset basically is my home, and it will be TRI's home down the road. And I want it to become like a community, like home. So I like the idea of investing a good chunk of your net worth in your home. Everybody's got to have a home. And I think on balance, psychologically, if you can afford it, then owning the place where you live is a lot better than renting. And also, too, there are some advantages for us, doing this deal in Portugal for, one reason or another. So that would be my answer. Most people, the safest thing that you can do, and it's interesting how we're going through this deflation world. And you're noticing that, things like real estate's actually done fairly well in a deflation world. Well, yeah, because the house itself doesn't change its value. Just the stupid things that we exchange houses in do change their value, and they are devaluating those things right now. So it's just, for me, I don't want to go in and buy one of those, what I perceive as an overly inflated asset. If I'm going to go and buy hard assets, I want to buy something that is what I would consider trading at value or below value. And so that's why I'm very, very interested in a place like Portugal right now, because I think it's trading dramatically undervalued. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah. Number 3. Hi, Brian. Do governments invest in particular companies? If so, what is the significant slam dunk or hit and miss? Technically, governments are not supposed to invest in companies. That's why they call it the private sector, because technically, if a government goes and invests in a company and takes a controlling stake, well, technically it becomes part of the public sector. So that's sort of the hard definition. And the funny thing is like in Canada here, they keep trying to float a national airline, but we just don't have enough people in Canada and the damn country's so big that there's no way in hell we can make a national airline competitive with the big U.S. carriers. And the Canadians, the politicians, of course, and sort of all the nationalists, for whatever the hell that is. It's important to have a national airline. This is our country, damn it. We don't want Americans and Mr. Trump dictating what planes are flying in our skies. We want a national carrier that's Canadian, because I'm Canadian, damn it. I'm not American, and I'm not Delta, and I'm not Continental, and I'm not U.S. Airways or whatever, right? I'm Canadian. So I want to fly on a Canadian airline. The only problem is that they're impossibly terrible companies to run. You cannot make a profit running an airline in Canada unless you're running it absolute bare bones, chartered. You charge people for peanuts and beverages, and you try and you're only going to run profitable lanes and stuff, routes. But if you're a national airline, then that means you got to have a flight on a daily basis to the fucking Northwest Territories, because that's part of Canada. And there's nobody on the airplane. So what? The plane's got to go. So Air Canada is a perfect example where they keep trying to make it a public company, but it just keeps getting into worse and worse financially. They keep reporting losses upon losses upon losses. And so and the government constantly has to come in and bail them out and buy up all the remaining stock in the marketplace and then roll it back and then reissue it. So yeah, countries can do it, but like we like to call it, the people's airline. And horrible investment idea. Absolutely horrific investment idea. So my suggestion for you is do not buy any companies that a country is actually themselves buying, because they're not capitalists. I mean, hell, you guys have seen how horribly wrong this Fed, theoretically working as a pseudo government body, they're just a whole bunch of banksters. You see how horrible their economic forecasts are. None of them are capitalists. They don't give a fuck. I mean, excuse my French. They don't give a. So they have no incentive to turn a profit. I mean, that's the irony of all this. No incentive whatsoever. So, no. Anytime you hear that a government is involved in your company, get the F out ASAP. It's a terrible investment idea. Okay, number 4. Hey, Brian. Hope all is well. I am wondering if you can share with us the concept behind the breadth indicator from the TRI dashboard. I assume, for example, that the top 30 crypto breadth is using an average of the top 30 crypto by market cap and an average of moving average is, if I am not mistaken. Yeah, basically. Don't really want to go into the nitty gritty of how it's built and how it's run. It is kind of proprietary. To understand how we get buy and sell signals on all the issues that we cover, we cover that in the level 2 program, and we even give you an equivalent of the DI indicator in TradingView in our week's conversation on building algorithms and algo trading. So take the education program, and at the end of level 2, Shartoshi and Kiran and Marat will walk you through the DI script on TradingView. And then understand that we do a cumulative study, which is a whole bunch of time frames of that script. So it's pretty complicated. And then, as opposed to using point and figure buy and sell signals to calculate things like bullish percentage indexes, we substitute DI buy and sell signals to create that bullish percentage index. And then we operate moving averages off of that bullish percentage index to give us the fast and slow signals. So on balance, you're right. And that's about as far as I want to take the conversation here. We'll probably build out like walkthrough tutorials of what does a buy signal look like, what does a sell signal look like. Here are examples of hunting bullish setups while you have a buy signal, hunting bearish signals bearish setups while you have a sell signal, and how you'd appropriately trade it. And ultimately, what I'd love to have is us build actually a little sort of mutual fund off of Josh's trading the TRI breadth index and trading Bitcoin, which I think would do very, very well. I think, as I've shown you guys before, Josh it's perfect because it's everything that I had hoped to see out of the indicator. But Josh he's doing absolutely, this is just poetry. And he's demonstrating the way that you use things like proprietary algorithms within a trading plan to help you frame your behavior. And I think he's doing pretty darn well. So way to go, Josh. So as I've told him repeatedly, I think probably if we can get something like maybe 50 trades logged, maybe a good 6 months, a good year of data, try and build out a statistical model. What is the percentage accuracy? How often should you expect to get stopped out? What is the relative risk reward per trade? As soon as we have all that actually all solidified and you have the data set, well, we can just take this to Wall Street and we can just walk up and down Wall Street looking for funding. Somebody will come along and go, well, sure, I've heard of you. Well, here's $10 million. Go start your mutual fund. Boom, done. It's just that easy. I mean, that's the irony of this crazy world is people don't realize how easy it is to get funded. All you got to do is show somebody that it works. And keep in mind, most people can't make money at this game, right? 95% of the people that play this game lose money consistently. So if you actually find somebody that actually can turn a profit and it's like algoritmized, this is a slam dunk sell. This is so easy. You could probably take it to a prop firm and get funded. So, all right, I think I'll leave the conversation at that for now. Number 5. All right, Brian, can you explain where one can find trap bulls in the charts and how we can use it to our advantage? All right. I mean, the irony of it all is you can really only find trap bulls and bears after the fact. It's not like it's during, it's after the fact. And what you're looking for really is you're looking for market structure that identifies a turn. And then you're looking at that market structure and seeing if there are any sort of shooting stars. So a shooting star candle looks like it has a small body or even a negative body, but nonetheless a small body with a really big wick. So, if this was like this asset opened here, beep, and then it went up, and then it came crashing back down and actually finished red on the day, something along these lines. And then you see that price down the road ticks down lower and lower and lower. You definitely know that all of these guys up in here are our trapped bulls. So you can see here, for example, if we go, let's get rid of this right here. So you can see that this market tried to turn back up. It rallied up, and I often talk about candle body highs and lows for trade location. I like that as a short level, but there were people that bought this up here. The only way you can get price to go up is somebody has to buy. So somebody bought up into here, and then you notice that they bought up into here, and then we finished here, beep, and then they tried to take another run up, right? Next candle opens up here, they go up, and then market just craps right out. So right here, my friends, these are a bunch of trapped bulls right in those two wicks right there. And this is where it's important, everybody. I know it drives you crazy. Well, at least it drives me crazy. It's a pet peeve. Really important to get the name of these correct. This is a wick up here, and think this is a candlestick pattern. So what is at the top of a candlestick? A wick. And it's really important to get the name of these correctly. This is a tail. And think of just like any animal, right? There is their body, and this is the tail wagging behind. So we only look for, and maybe let's see if you guys can figure this out. What do we look for in wicks? There's not that many people here. So, God, look at that. There's almost nobody here. We look for trap bulls. What do we look for in tails? We look for trapped bears, right? Somebody here was like, sell, 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 sell. And then the market came ripping back. And so this guy right now is going, oh, Jesus, like the guy who sold right here. He's going, oh, man, what a doofus. And it's right. Oh, no, what have I done? I've ruined us. This guy's a trapped bear right down in here. And you notice they eventually release him. Candle body lows for trade location, that's him getting released. The irony of it all is that there's some new trapped bears down in here. You see that tail right there? Now, they're not that many of them. See? It's a lot smaller than what was here. And the worst part about it, right, is the bigger the wick, the more trap bulls and the more trap bears are. I hope that helps answer that question. All right, number 6. What advice do you have for someone who enters the program with an overweight LOL position? Overweight LOL, by definition, that's kind of breaking. That's not an LOL position if it's overweight. For example, I currently have over 10% Luna, sold 50% at 93. Oh, good job. But wondering if I should reduce earlier than my next sell target, which is 50% at 186. Interested in how you would approach from a risk management perspective. From a risk management perspective, you got to knock that down, get that the hell out of there. But you're going to be selling a down market now, so you kind of missed the boat. Test. You could, kind of cheating a little bit, but you could break this in half, get it down to 5%, then take the excess that's above that 5%, put it on cold storage, put it on like a USB device or something like that, and just forget about it. And then you don't even give a shit about what's happening in the market in the short term. You understand that you've broken the rules. So, that should go in the demon log and the demon finder. But as we said, maybe a short-term trade turns into a long-term investment. I don't know whether you're still up on the trade or whether you're underwater now on the trade. I really don't like people who put themselves into positions where bad things can happen. So you put yourself into a position where you're overweight in something and it's heading down, bad things can happen. Murphy's Law, usually the moment you sort of acknowledge bad things can happen, I better clean things up. Ironically enough, that's usually near some sort of emotional pivot, and it's got you emotionally thinking. And ironically enough, you're probably walking into, like, if you're selling, you're like, oh my God, I bought way too much. That's it. I gotta clean this up. It's a bad mistake. The price is going down. Oh my God, I could ruin my family's life. Blah. Well, you're getting sucked into that emotional vortex. And Murphy's Law, the irony of it all is you're probably within a few bucks of the actual bottom in the market. So, my simple suggestion is man up, or I guess lady up, whatever you are, and just clean things up. Right? Just try and play from a position of strength. If you're just like, well, Brian, I really like this story, and I'm now underwater, so maybe I'm just willing to take that other 5% and just put it away. And I would suggest disconnect it from the account so you don't see it on a constant basis that it's irritating you, and put it on some sort of cold storage device on a cold storage wallet and just forget about it. Maybe even, like Sjord says, go and stake it, right? So you're earning some sort of interest on that. That would be my suggestion. So, unfortunately, whenever I get to ask these questions, that the barn door's already flapping in the breeze, the horses are running away over the hill, and you're turning to me and saying, Brian, should we close the barn door at night? What do you think? And it's almost a no-win situation, the answer that I give you. Sucks. So underwater Joe Sixpack equals LOL trader. And then also too, if Luna totally collapses, you might find that the percentage of exposure you have in Luna isn't overweight anymore. So if anything, a really good analogy that you should be constantly rebalancing your portfolio. And I got to admit, Sjord, he's done a very, very good job of keeping on top of rebalancing. I'm exceptionally proud of the job of managing a portfolio that Sjord has done, and he's helped even Julian out immensely, so to get himself righted and heading in a good direction again. So Sjord's the man. He could write a course on this stuff, I think. The only problem is it would be in Dutch, and none of us would understand it. But nonetheless, I think he could write a course on this. Okay, so there you go. That's my answer. All right, last question, then I got to head off to Lily. So Sjord is not going to like this one. Uh-oh. But it looks like Luna is good for a short. Yeah, well, we talked about that earlier. So hopefully, Resvan, you watched the video. Probably rewind to the part where I talked about Luna and, that bearish ABCD. I got a feeling you're right. The good part about it, and this is what I've said to everybody, remember, it's super important, everybody. We cannot affect a positive resolution of this shit show that these cocksucking sons of bitches have put us in if we get negative too. We have to remain positive. We have to constantly be thinking about, okay, what is the positive spin to this? Even somebody like Winnie the Pooh, we should be reaching out to him and saying, sir, how can we help you? How can we help your country be a better country? How can we help you be a better person? How can we help the gentleman who is insisting on sexually molesting your national sports heroes? How can we help that person get over that behavior? That's the whole point, I thought, of our modern day prison system, was this idea of rehabilitation. I don't know what's happened to this world, but it seems like over the past 30, 40 years, but maybe this is our history of our species, is you can't affect positive change by something like shooting the guy. That's not going to solve the problem. So same thing here. Us beating up on somebody like Allen for suckering in so many people to buy. Keep in mind, the only way Doge got to 75 cents last year was somebody was buying. Obviously, they were the public. But we can't help that person if we're negative, if we beat up on them. You stupid fucking idiot. Why did you do that? You can't help somebody if you take that attitude. The attitude we have to take is, and if anything, this is what I need for all of you to sort of think about, is okay, maybe you did buy the top in Bitcoin, but let's learn from that mistake. What do markets look like that are, the best way to describe this? I love this. Again, try and be lighthearted, try and be happy, try and be like, you know what, we can learn from this. But I put out a message the other day. Nick nailed this so perfectly. He goes, you know what? I'll come back to Bitcoin when we're back into easy mode. I'll actually go and risk my hard-earned money when the market is telling us, you know what? Now's a good time to go in and risk some hard-earned money. So why not wait for things like weekly bullish divergences? I remember when this came in, and there was only one TRI OG that mentioned this on social media, and at least the social medias that I follow, and basically fell on deaf ears. And I was like with him, these people, they just don't get this. You're right. You're absolutely right. Everybody and their brother should be loading up on the corn down here, but they just don't get it. So it's almost impossible. Point here is, now, hopefully all of you watching this, and tell your friends, tell your family, why don't we just wait for a bullish divergence in Bitcoin before we go risking our hard-earned money? Why don't we wait for a nice, simple Brian secret sauce moving average cross to tell us that the trend is pointing up? Trend's not pointing up right now, folks. And actually, we just had a bearish empire fire. Ugh. And if anybody knows me, they know that this kind of pattern in MACD histogram, oh boy, I do not like this kind of pattern. So, man, I mean, we just keep saying over and over and over, there's plenty of anecdotal evidence to support how we're looking at the market. Decennial report, January barometer, election year performance, year-over-year inflation comparisons. Hell, God, you look at interest rates ratcheting higher. So let's be positive. This is very doable. It's very easy to build a plan and make money from trading. Believe it or not, it's actually pretty easy. But if you do it right, it's actually pretty boring. And, this is one thing I love about Grim. He just constantly reinforces this. If you do the process, think of the process goals. If you follow the process goals and you show me, Brian, I followed the process religiously and you still lost money, I would be like, hey, you actually did really well. And we always used to say there's no such thing as a bad trade, because even if you lose money, it's a learning experience. There's always something that you can take away from a trade. If you need help, right, framing that behavior, Brian, I just don't know what to do. Well, that's our whole education program. You can go the Great Del Moody route, and trust me, it works. The guys he and I are joking about how much BCH looks like it's a great way to make some money here. So I've gotten through to him. But he's put a lot of time and effort. Maybe a lot of you don't have the opportunity to come to every single one of these shows and sit and listen to me for, 3 hours a week blabbing away here and taking notes like a son of a gun. That's why we built the education program. I think it's incredibly fairly priced. And we have a new school term coming up. So get ready. David will start his marketing campaign. And I love how the team works together to show you what a great value this is. But my suggestion to you is just get on this waiting list. And if anything, you know that the market's going to be pretty crappy here over the next few months. So maybe just take the time and get your trading plan together. Get your act together. Understand what a half decent buy signal and sell signal looks like. Understand risk management, right? Understand that your attitude is actually the most important thing here. Can you stay positive through this experience of learning how to become a trader? Because keep in mind, 95% of the population cannot do this. So if you really want to do this, well, it's going to take some hard work. You're going to have to learn new muscles. You're going to have to sort of look at the world very differently than the way you did look at the world and the way that 95% of the population looks at the market. But we can do this. We have the technology. We can rebuild him. All right. I think I'll say that for now. What I will say is, can everybody please take a moment, send a positive karmic thought to Liam so that we have an awesome afternoon. I'd appreciate it. It makes my life, I believe it works. If anything, this whole PMA stuff, he is a living testament to how he's not verbal. And yet, when I ask all of you, and I didn't ask you guys on Wednesday, and Thursday was a bit of a tough day for us. I actually think that when you send those positive vibes, it helps me subconsciously, because I was pretty stressed out last Thursday. So a great, bring it all back to this guy, that we're all connected. I'm here to help you all. I really am. I can't help you unless you help me help you. If that makes any sense at all. So even if you're just watching all the free content, just be open. Leave your brain and your mind open to new possibilities. And like I said, I think it's a fair proposition. In fact, I even said in my tweet, and I'll leave the video off of this, that shameless plug, maybe instead of going and blowing a whole bunch of money in the market, and if the market goes down, you get wiped out and the money's gone, maybe just take a little bit of that money and invest in yourself. You can learn a little bit about our program and what people say about it. I've never seen a program like what we do anywhere, and frankly speaking, I don't think you ever will, following TRI, because I'm such a weirdo. I mean, I've literally selflessly given myself to this community and to doing like all these free shows and free content. You're probably not going to find too many weirdos like me in this world. If anything, like I also said in social media here recently, I have to give you guys a big thank you, because in a weird sort of way, what I'm doing is not really normal. So I have to thank the universe for giving me this opportunity. I have to thank all of you for believing in me and having trust that I'm not trying to screw you over, which I'm sure is not easy. Anyway, somewhere in here I went on about how much I just give a big thank you to all of you. I mean, look at this, what's happening here. I got people on this site now who are just killing it. And this is going to resonate over time. It really is. So, okay, I think I'll leave it at that. Wish me luck with Liam. PMA for the win. I think, as I said, when I come back tonight, I got a whole bunch of homework I've already laid out for myself. So take it easy. All the best. PMA for the win. And the only thing left for Brian to say is bye for now. Hit the like button, subscribe, ring Colleen's bell too.